All right, let's get started. We'll call the meeting to order. It's 4:35 right now, and Nolan, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to start going through the items that we need to consider.
All right. Let's see here. First item on the agenda is change order number 1. That goes back to HFR had recommended or had an issue with pricing of demolition of the floor. They went back and talked through that. They're now okay with that number. It's for demolition in the shower rooms. The price, $2,004.99.
And that was something we were just waiting on HFR just to confirm the pricing. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve that change order.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Alsbrook,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor. We'll do a vote, actually a roll call vote. Kate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. Passes. All right, what's the next item there, Nolan?
Okay, let's see here. Next item is change order number 6. This is pricing for infill of the existing walls where the heater units were. HFR does not recommend the pricing for the demo of the existing rated louvers shown in the contract documents to remain, and wall infill on the grounds that the existing louvers were rated, and there was no evidence that they didn't function and did not interfere with the new construction. That amount originally was $4,793. The disputed amount was $2,000. So the total that's recommended by HFR is $2,793.
Nolan, can I speak on that?
Go ahead, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on that, if I know everybody don't have a set of plans in front of them, but in between rooms 116 and 117, which is the wellness center and the pre-weight room, there's that wall that comes back to that block wall hit dead in the center of one of those louvers. We were told that those louvers did not work. The louvers are nowhere in the bid drawings, the documents. It doesn't show the louvers as pre-existing. It doesn't show them in the end of the job being in there. It just shows a smooth wall all the way around. So that's why we took and removed those louvers. It was talked about, and then HFR does not recommend it now. But we could have left that wall dead center of that louver, and half of it showed in one room and half of it showed in the other room. But we didn't do that. We were doing this to where the building would look good. The louvers were of no use. And it was asked about back whenever we'd done this, and it seemed like it was a good idea to do it.
So these were things that we weren't going to use anymore, and they were just sitting in the wall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Scott, Nolan, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all remember talking about that in the past?
It's come up several times. I just don't remember that those louvers were operable. Scott, what do you remember?
I mean, they've never been filled. I mean, work, they've always been covered since I've been there.
I just have a hard time thinking that we would just leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah, I doubt we would wanted them to be left not using for anything. They're just sitting there. It'd be like having a return vent, you know, in your house when you're getting it remodeled and you just leave it there. I
Yeah.
don't think we'd want that to be done. Steve, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I don't think you want a wall coming in the middle of a vent that's going to be sticking out on either side of the wall. I mean, nobody wants to have that. I guess it goes back to whose mistake it was.
That's one thing that I was going to bring up real quick. For change order number 1, are we doing that as a change order directive?
Hold on, let me go back to that.
That would be my recommendation.
Well, let's stick with this now. Let's revisit that, the one we did before. I mean, I think what Mike is saying is that there was nothing in the plans on this. It was just something that they did because, and I don't know who all was in the conversation talking about it, but, you know, something that would need to be done anyway. I don't know if that would be an HFR issue or something that was just overlooked or not. I really don't know about it. I mean, I think they did the right work. They did what should have been done. Question is, do we take it out of our contingency fund or negotiate with HFR after the fact because it was something that was missed and wasn't put in the bid? And we've been pretty consistent on the things that we think that HFR missed and should have been just put in the bid and do an actual directive on them. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this, not as a change order, but as a directive, and take the money out of the contingency fund to pay for it and negotiate with HFR when the project is finished to see if we'll pay for that or if HFR will pay for it.
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Harvey,
Second.
second by Mrs. Alsbrook. Any further discussion on this? Kate, how do you vote?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
I vote yes. So that passes as a directive. Now let's back up to that first one that we did.
Sorry to interrupt. We're approving the full amount of $4,793.
Yes.
Okay.
Steve, was that your intent on your motion?
Yes.
And Kate, is that what you understood to be voting on?
Yes.
But it is a directive.
Okay, and I did too. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Nolan.
Oh, back to number 1. Did you want to talk about that now?
Yes. What was that one that was missed somehow?
I would say so. If you've got a shower, I would just guess that you're going to make sure that it flows to the drain. And I don't think that that was done or shown in the plans. So Sane went ahead and took care of it. So to me, that would, if you're going to approve it, it should be through a directive.
Okay. Let's revisit that matter.
So then,
I guess let's do an amendment to that first motion that passed.
okay. I'll amend my motion then to include change order number 1 as a directive for the $2,004.99.
Go have a motion to amend to make that a directive and take that out of the contingency fund. Is that right? Okay,
Yes.
and Steve, do you second that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Alsbrook, second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion on amending that first motion that passed to be a directive instead of a change order? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote on the amendment. Mr. Harvey, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alsbrook?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So now we've amended that to be instead of a change order, it'll be a directive to direct the work to be done, which it's been done. We'll take that out of the contingency fund, and then we'll negotiate with HFR when the project's finished.
Just as a little side note, I've never built any commercial showers, but I've done tons of residential showers, and they all have slopes.
Right. Yeah, and they'd have to get to the drain.
I feel like that's key.
That comment was made at one of those other meetings from Steve, I think, and that it's okay if it's level. And I don't agree with that.
And I appreciate saying, Mike, you guys doing the things that you see and trusting in us to try to get that paid and done.
Well, just so that everybody understands the situation that we had in there, we had 2 existing drains. So the floor sloped to 2 different areas. And then when we put the trench drain in, which is a long flat drain, you had a high point out in the center that the concrete would be higher, about 1 inch higher than the drain itself.
Right.
So you would have a place that your toe would, catch and trip you or whatever. So that's the reason that's the reason we done what we did, so that it would be right.
All right, thanks. So we've resolved that first one. Nolan, what's the third item?
Item 3 is change order 24, revised pricing to lower the curb at the exterior stair of the north end of the east addition.
Would you like me to explain that, Nolan?
That would be great.
Okay. The fire escape comes to the back of the east addition on the north end, where it comes down to the sidewalk. The elevation where it comes to the sidewalk is higher than the floor in the east building. So if we didn't do something back there, we're going to have water running back into the floor of the east building. So by lowering this curb and actually forming a wall, we can lower the elevation of the dirt work so that we can get the water out of that area without it running back into the building. And that's what all that change order consists of. Now, we did go back and revise the pricing. We found a way to actually save some money there from the original change order 24 that was put out. And so we revised the pricing and lowered it to $26.59. And it'll be doing basically the exact same thing as HFR was wanting it to do, but at a lower cost.
Nolan, I'm looking through the documents you sent us through email on the OneDrive. Which document is that?
It is labeled COR 24. And I have just shared it on the screen here.
Is this an issue that just arose as you got out there, Mike, and saw it, or what was?
Yes, I mean, um, the elevations that they've got on the civil drawings on the plans it would not have worked. We would have been running water back into the east building, east addition. So therefore, we started looking at how to resolve that. And, the original way to do it was to form a 1-foot wall at the sidewalk, and the pricing shows that was the 3,384, I think it is. And so in turn, if we didn't have to form a wall and then pour the sidewalk, we could set a form and pour the sidewalk and the wall together, which in turn saves some money, which we went back and revised after talking to HFR and lowered it to $26.59, which is just a cost savings to y'all.
Okay, thank you. Nolan, what do you recommend on this one?
I recommend that we approve it. I would say as a directive.
If you
Okay.
saw the stairs, you'd say, yes, this was a missed.
And so it's the ones coming off the back of the tennis court?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Is this part of a bigger problem?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I think they just used, if I remember, we discussed this a while back, Mike, and I think that this was where they just used the wrong elevation when coming off those stairs, and they just got the wrong elevation. They may have used the existing elevation when they should have used what the finished elevation was going to be for those steps to come down.
Well, it's a, yes, they used the existing floor elevation to come up with the step elevation. But really, with those steps coming down, it was either, if they had went with the elevation of the east building, then you would have had a step or two back up to the sidewalk. So it's really something that easily got missed. Because if you're using the sidewalk as the elevation and you want the stairs to come down and actually dump onto the sidewalk, you're not thinking about the east building floor elevation. So it could have easily got missed. I mean, I see how it got missed. Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion to issue a directive for that work. Take it out of contingency fund.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Alsbrook,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Ms. Alsbrook, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. All right, so that'll be a directive. Take it out of the contingency fund, and then we'll negotiate with HFR. What does that bring our contingency fund balance to? Do you know, Nolan?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get that after the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, if you'll do that, that'd be great. Okay, what's the next item?
Okay. Next item is change order number 33. 33 is additional insulation at the geothermal piping in the amount of $515.
Would you like me to explain that now?
Yes, please.
Okay, right there at the stairway we were just talking about, the wall, the chase wall for the units, it came all the way under the stairs and went to the existing building. Well, HFR approved they approved that landing up there with open treads, which water would actually go down through, open grading. Water would go down through there into the building. So they came back and they turned that corner with the AMPs to where it would go behind the stair landing up top. Well, the piping that come through that area, out to for the geothermal, that actually put it to the exterior of the building. So that's what this insulation is for, is to protect that piping so that it don't freeze. So it's basically a way of fixing the problem we had with open grading and water going to be able to fall inside the building.
Okay.
All right, Nolan, what's your recommendation for this item?
I would recommend that we approve it. I think this one may be something that we would want to eat the cost on, and it's only $515, but seems to me like something that wasn't missed but dealt with after the fact.
I mean, we would have had to have done it anyway, right?
Exactly. I feel like we just dealt with it as it happened, and I would just take it out of the contingency.
Okay, so recommendation is to approve it as a change order, take it out of contingency.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Harvey,
Second.
second by Mrs. Alsbrook. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
All right, I'll vote yes. That passes. All right, what's the next item?
Right. Next item is change order number 35. 35 is 2 additional fire-rated louvers in the indoor tennis court in the amount of $4,948. And if, Mike, could you shed some light on that one for us?
Okay. Up on the second floor in the tennis court area, the ductwork where it enters into the building up there and comes through the firewall, it is, though you've got to have a fire damper in there, and that fire damper was nowhere on the construction documents or in the drawings or anything. So we brought it to Chris's attention, and so he asked us to get it priced, and that's how this change order came about.
Okay, so that's something that's necessary or the fire marshal wouldn't approve
Yes,
occupancy.
we would have never got a certificate of occupancy if we didn't have that in there.
Okay. That sounds like possibly architectural design missing that. Is that what your recommendation would be, Nolan, is to issue a directive?
Yes.
Have y'all already done that work, Mike?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll need that directive issuing, directing the work to be done, take the money out of the contingency fund to get same paid.
On those louvers, on those fire dampers, they're so big that it's going to take there's about a 6-week lead time on getting those. So if we can get him to get this change directive, ordered pretty quick, it would help in getting those ordered.
And when I first saw that request come through, I looked up what it costs for these things, and of course, I don't know everything that goes into it, and I think you sent back some explanation of what all the cost is to go into it. There's quite quite a bit of material that goes into it, and I guess it takes a lot of manpower to get up there and get it in, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So Nolan, I guess with this one, of the ones that we've issued today, this would be the top priority to get it completed and back. Is that right, Mike?
This is probably the most important one. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I put, when you communicate to Chris, Nolan, make sure that he knows this one needs to come back ASAP.
Well, I mean, if y'all approve it, I mean, I'll go ahead and have it ordered tomorrow.
Okay,
And
that'll
that's-
work.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the price with it in a directive.
Directive, okay, take it out of contingency fund to pay.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Alsbrook,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Steve, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Kate?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. That passes. What's the next item, Nolan?
Okay, the next item is change order number 36. That is for infill of the existing fascia. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is where the east addition joins the existing building, and we had to remove panels to allow for that addition to work out correctly. There was some interference there.
The steel columns on the new addition, the fascia had to be removed so that the steel columns could pass up through.
Yeah.
The fascia actually stuck out in the way, so we had to cut the holes and let the columns run up through there. And this is just to infill those back in so that you can't see it from the inside. All that will be covered in the new addition. You'll never see it in there. But if we didn't do something about it, you would be able to see these holes from the inside of the existing building.
Okay. Is this something that was discovered once y'all started doing the work on it? How did you discover it, Mike?
Well, once we actually got up there and cut the holes through, I would have assumed that the wall continued up and the fascia stuck out from the building. But it was an external component of the building. The fascia was that. So once it was tore off, it left open hole to the outside. And this whole time since we've done that, we've had it covered with plastic to minimize the rain getting in the building. But at some time or another, we had to address this, as to what was going to happen there. If we had put the new addition up, we wouldn't have had the problem with the rain. You would have just been able to see through from one building to the other.
Okay. Nolan, what's your recommendation on this?
How much is it?
It's $5,270. And I feel like this is a product of the issue where towards the beginning of the project, we realized that those piers were too close to the existing building. So I feel like that was missed by HFR up front, and I would recommend that it's approved as a directive.
Okay. Have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Alsbrook,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Kate, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Steve?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Passes. We'll issue that as a directive on change order 36. Take that out of the contingency fund to go ahead and pay Sane to do the work, and then negotiate with HFR later. Okay, Nolan, what's next?
The next thing is the last thing. It's the request for time extension. And HFR recommends the extension of contract time requested by Sane for 21 days with no general conditions. HFR will include this time extension in the next change order.
Okay. So we don't need to take action on that now?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mike was telling us that with the directive on the fire damper, there may be some additional time with that. So I think that our committee just needs to take that into account when we do revisit this particular request, that we be lenient with saying and make sure that we do that. Everybody understand?
Yes.
Yeah, can we get up to speed on how many days we've approved already from the original?
Mike, you know
The
that?
original, we had the 21 days that was added for the over excavation. No, I think it was 14 days. 14.
Yeah.
And then we had maybe we should go back and research that. I can't think of all that right now, Steve. I thought I could. We can get it to you though.
Yeah.
Get that to us. Get that to us for the next meeting, because the request was for additional 21 days. We need to know how many days we're over. We've extended it now before we take action on that, which it's not, I guess, not before us right now to approve that, but it will be pretty soon.
And what are these 20?
I know the date that it has extended it out to right now is October the 1st. And that was showed in the last schedule. So I can go back and look the days up, but it's extended it to October the 1st. Still, just like I've told y'all all along, I'm going to finish this project for you as quick as I can. I hope that, I hope that we don't have to use those days. We may have to have a few of them. Who knows what this Coronis is going to do. It has slowed things a little bit, but we are still working every day on the job site. We're moving forward.
I know you sent out an email, Mike, that said that the manufacturer of the seats, the bleachers, is taking more time now because either they're not working or they've got something going on with their factory where people aren't able to work. So that's going to take a little bit of time.
Integral has their plant is in Michigan, and they have been shut down about 3 weeks now, and they still don't know when they're going to be open. Getting to open the doors back up. Our bleachers were we had those ready to ship in June, and they have notified us that once they get back up and running, they will give us a new delivery date, because they will pick up right where they stopped, and anybody that had an order in before us, they will go ahead and produce those items first. So we will not get a ship date on those until they get cranked back up. The basketball goals, the company that makes the steel goals, they have shut down. But of course, this is fixing to come out in a revision to ask for the electric movable goals to where they'll retract like the old goals. The bid documents and everything show stationary goalpost, and I don't think that's acceptable. But
Okay. So the time that they should be out on either one of those two vendors would be just the time that they're shut down, most likely?
most likely, yes.
Is that something that if you don't get in, I mean, bleachers aren't obviously there's something we need to be able to open the doors, but they're not, do those have to be done before you can do something else? Or are those something that can be done while other stuff's going on? Is there a specific timeline that they have to be completed?
Well, I mean, at some point we've got to put them in. It's not going to hold up. It's not going to hold up any of the other parts of the building. The basketball goals, we would want those in place before we install the floor, because those big pieces of steel, if one of them gets dropped, it's going to tear the floor up. So we would want those installed before we install the flooring in the gymnasium. The bleachers, they've got to go in after the flooring. And neither one of these items may, depending on how everything happens, neither one of those items, they may not hold the job up. But as these things come in, I just feel it appropriate to pass them on to y'all. And then that way, everybody knows that there's a potential problem,
So it sounds to me like you can't get the bleachers in until the floors are in, and you don't want to get the floors in until the goals are in. So the goals really have to be done first before you can do the flooring or the bleachers. Is that right?
Right. But with this revision coming out on the goalpost, to movable goals, we have canceled the order actually for the stationary goalpost right now. This is something that needs to get, we need to get it out there. And if they're gonna, if Chris is gonna ask for that revision, and y'all had the movable goalpost in there in the old building, I can see with the events that y'all have in this building that they would be needed.
I thought we had movable goals that were supposed to be put in new. I mean, that's not something that I looked at in the plans specifically to see if there was a, mechanism to do it. I just thought that's what we were getting.
That's what I believed.
And I thought that was something at one of our meetings we discussed.
I thought
Well, if you look at, I think Chris pretty much admitted it in the email he sent out a week or so, that they knew that they were supposed to be retractable.
I just didn't put it in the plans.
I believe that's true, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll take that up when it comes in for the request, but that sounds like something that needs to be done. I mean,
the sooner we get it resolved, the better off we will be, because of if we have to take and go with movable goals, then this is going to be a fresh order. We're going to have to go back and submit them, and Chris and him's going to have to approve the submittals and get them back to us before we can actually have them produced.
okay, we'll be in line behind everybody else that's already got their orders in to whatever company gets it.
But now, am I understanding right that the 21 days that we just talked about, that's nothing to do with either one of those two issues, right?
No, sir, you're correct.
So what is the 21 days for that's on this list that we've got now?
Okay, the 21 days on that list there now is back during December. We just about came to a shutdown out there, and the job was held up. I told y'all I wouldn't go back and ask for just a number of days. I would actually look at it and determine what days it affected the job, and in that, in a lot of that where the change orders was held up because they wasn't getting approved and stuff, we went back and looked at all that, and I think that 21 days is being fair to everyone. I put a letter out to HFR I put a letter out to HFR explaining why I was asking for the 21 days. And there's some items on there that, the job got held up by over 300 days on. I didn't go back and ask for the 300 days. I asked for what I thought it really affected the job. And in total, that was 21 days that I thought it had affected my job. And that's the reason I asked for the 21 days.
Yeah,
I
'cause
could go
if
back
y'all
and make
remember,
an argument.
when we approve these
A
things,
lot more days, but I don't feel like it's fair.
when we approved a lot of these, either change orders or directives, we'd send it to HFR and they'd hold on to it for 30 days or so before getting it back out.
Yes, I mean, there's a couple of change orders. There's a couple of change orders on this right here that we went through today. I know at least one of them that y'all approved in a ad hoc committee meeting in January, and we're just now getting this back.
Right.
So, and y'all approved the change order. If you go back through your minutes, y'all approved that change order in January. And we're waiting on HFR to give you their review. So it's just now getting, here it is April, and we're just now getting the review on it.
They're just telling us that they agree on the pricing that was submitted for that change, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
Do we
Mike,
have anything else to come up before this ad hoc committee? Mike, anything else we need to know about?
Not at this time. I think, getting this here cleared up, and then there will be some more, there's some more change orders out there that's not been addressed yet that HFR, I guess, is still reviewing. And I don't know of anything that has come up that would prompt any new revision except for the basketball goals. We've still got some things out there from revision number 9 and a few things that's carried over from revision number 8 that we've got to get pricing on. We're working with subcontractors to get pricing on, but we had to have we really got to have details of what they want to be able to price it. And one is that HVAC ductwork going through stairwell number 1. There's still some questions out there about how that needs to be done. It has been approved. It has been approved that it can go through the stairwell through the state fire marshal's office, but there needs to be a detail showing what needs to be done.
Okay. Nolan, anything from you?
yeah, I think in our meeting earlier this week, we talked about the date for the IMP panels. We weren't sure. Mike, did you get a more firm date on that?
The IMP panels, I got a confirmed date yesterday. They will ship and be delivered on April 24th.
That's good news.
So we will, at that time, we'll start installing them on the south building and south addition and get it dried in, and we can move on with it. And then hopefully by that time we have the GERT issues resolved and can go straight to putting the IMPs on the east.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
In your honest opinion, and I know Sane has owned up to this, but in your honest opinion, what kind of delay do you think that the girders not being done properly has caused?
Well, Steve, because we went ahead with the fire sprinkler piping, the ductwork, because the temperature has come up outside and we went ahead with fireproofing and stuff, I don't think it's really delayed us, that much. Maybe in a total of about time it's all said and done, we'll probably be about 2 weeks behind on this. There's a lot of things that, because of the height of this building, there's a lot of these things that's got to be done before the IMP panels can be put on, because we don't have no way to get a lift into the second floor through the old building. That there's not a doorway wide enough to get a lift up there that will reach the ceiling. So we're gonna have to paint all that structure up there before the IMPs can go on. So really, in all, I think we're gonna be about 2 weeks in there that we're kind of behind. But I think if we pick up with the number of personnel and pick up with the number of personnel and work a few weekends if we have to, I think we can catch that back up. It seems, if you just look at building the building, you would think that skin would have to go on before you could do anything inside. But because there's no way to get a lift up there big enough to reach from the tennis court floor to the bar joist up above, it's got to come in the side of the building. So we would have had to left a hole out in the side of this building till all that got done anyway.
Is that going to give us problems in the future when we need to replace lights and do any work inside that room?
Yes, sir.
I know we've been having issues at the with the Park Theater, finding a lift that can go in there. I think we found one, or somebody's told us about one that they make that fits through a regular size door, and then it kind of, the legs and everything expand out. So I just didn't know if that was something we'd really thought about.
Just to be honest, I mean, if you would have had a double door, say 7 foot tall, up there going into that tennis court, would have been a wonderful thing. You've only got 2 single man doors going into it.
Okay.
So that may be something y'all want to talk about, and you may want to, you may want to make a change there. I don't know.
They make lifts that are smaller, right, Scott? I mean, you've looked at some of those types of lifts, haven't you, Scott?
I think they make them smaller. I don't know if they reach that high, though.
Okay.
Now you can get one that'll go through a man door, but I think the maximum height on it is 21 feet.
How tall is that ceiling? Or how tall is it?
36 feet.
You're 30.
I think it's 36.
Yeah, 36 feet, I think. 35 or 36.
Mike, can we make those lights retractable?
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
Could I interject something?
Sure.
The Adams Tennis Center in Murfreesboro has 37 feet high ceilings over all the courts. After the court were built, they switched from what was originally installed to LED panels, and I think those panels are raised and lowered, Scott. If you'd call down there, you could get some very specific information on the lighting decision they made and the reasons for it.
The lighting inside the arena from 1975 is retractable. So.
Right.
No, it's doable, but get with HFR and figure out how they anticipated we were supposed to change out those lights if we can't get a lift in there.
Okay.
I'll do a RFI on that and ask it, and I'll post it being as coming from this meeting here.
Okay. I appreciate that. That seems like that's a very bad oversight. If we can't get in there to change out those lights due to the size of the entrances to the room.
Right. Well, see, we figured this out, because we were gonna, in just like I say, in looking at it, you would think you could go in there and paint the ceiling up there and all that steel up there once the IMP panels are put on. But we don't have enough room to get a lift in there. So now
The only other way would be to get scaffolding and put it up around the entire room. That'd be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for looking into that for us. And then so we look into how we're supposed to change out the light bulbs once the building is finished. We need to figure that out. Steve had the question about getting the days that we've extended so far, and then finding out where our contingency fund balance is with these changes. Anything else?
No.
Okay. If we don't have anything else, then we'll adjourn this meeting. I appreciate everybody's attendance. I think this went really well after figuring out the microphones a little bit at the very beginning. And Nolan, I thought you were at a boat dock or something at first, but now see that's the Civic Center.
That's right.
That's just a backdrop behind you, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. All right, good deal. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good afternoon. Be safe.
You too.